Hi everyone, I'm Patrik from Patrik Windsurfing. We are here in beautiful Fuerteventura, Sotavento, right after the World Cup. And I want to show you how to rig our racing sails. I have a prototype sail here, but there is no difference in rigging and also what to look at, let's say downhaul, loose leech, Batten tensioner and so on. So we first unroll the sail. Be careful, if you can, choose a soft ground. So some grass would be perfect. If you have a very rough surface, make sure you're not scratching the sail too much. Grab the mast. Our mast, as you can see in another video, we have the alignment system. So join here, and we're actually facing this indication away from the sail. When you slide the mast into the sail on a hard surface, make sure you don't push the mast onto the sail material, but rather lift it. And you can go in the middle, hold the mast, lift the sail, slide it all the way to the top. When you first time rig our sails, have a quick look and make sure that the top pin is inside the mast. Fold the tack fairing up, set up the extension, slide it into the mast, and again here we have the alignment system. It says here extension align here. We have the extension with this orange golden indication.
So what Patrik forgot to show you is actually how to correctly loop the rope, and it's actually quite important to loop this one correctly, otherwise it will be hard to set the downhaul. So let me show you how to do this. So the first thing we do is tuck up this material so that we have these pulleys free to use. And now I'm going to show you how to loop the rope correctly so that we don't have too much friction, because if we cross the rope, this creates extra friction and it will become much harder to pull the downhaul. So the correct way to do it, we use the first pulley, so the closest one to the mast, and we loop it from below like this. Then we go from the inside on the upper pulley here like this, and then next we go to the outward facing pulley, but now we go from the top like this, and then we go on the lower pulley right here, and we go from the outside again, so like this. And now the last one is a bit tricky because you don't want to cross the rope here, so you have to kind of pull a little bit, and now you use the middle pulley, this one, which you use from below, because you can also see this is the biggest pulley. With it being a bit bigger, it will become a bit easier to pull if you use this one last. And then from here, we just go inside here. And now we can pull quite easily. And now what you will see is that there are these three ropes on the top and these three ropes on the bottom. So if we pull, none of the ropes are crossing, and we can pull the downhaul quite easily.
So when the mast is in, the extension rope is all looped around the pulleys. Pull downhaul until the mast is touching the indication of the boom height. As you can see here, that's the mast height indication, and the mast is right here. Next step is to put the camber. There are three ways to put the camber. One is I call it the ninja way. Hold the mast in the middle, or even a bit closer to the camber you want to pop in. Then with the other hand, just push and pull the mast and snap it in. That's why I call it the ninja way, very fast. Next one. And then for the bottom camber, with your fingertips, right there where the camber sits on the sail, push it down, and with the other hand, just pop the camber in. And then the top one exactly the same. Open the zipper. Another way to pop the cambers in. Hold the mast very close to the camber you want to push in. You just go inside with your hands on top of the sail right where the camber is. Push it down, and with your knees you can actually push the camber in. And then for the bottom and top cam, say system, push down with your fingertips. And they're in. The third way is with the boom. You put the boom on the sail. Then you loop the rope at the back end. Give some tension to the outhaul. Now you can release the downhaul a little bit. And then again, going with your hand, push the sail down inside and pop the camber in. There we go. To pull the downhaul on the sail, again, many different ways. There are some tools. I use the harness. I loop the rope around the hook, push with my legs. Like this, I don't have any pressure on my back, and even if in case the rope is a bit older and it snaps, I don't get any impact on my back. Adjust your boom height after you have the downhaul. Close the zippers and done. I normally hold up the extension and then have the weight on the top of the sail and just give it a little wiggle, and then I can see very well where the wrinkles are in the red material. As a recommendation, if you look at the transition between the red and the black at those Battens, if you draw like an imaginary line, we recommend the wrinkle just to end at the front of this line. Of course, if you really feel overpowered or when it's really choppy, to pull a little bit more downhaul, that's good. So maybe 2 fingers, 3 fingers over, but we do not recommend to have less downhaul on our sails. How much outhaul do we pull? It is a personal preference. So me, I like when the sail is just about to touch the boom. Maybe 5 mil, 10 mil before it touches with normal power, but when you're overpowered, it probably gonna start touching the boom. While Alex Cousin, he pulls a bit more outhaul. He has the harness lines a bit more forward, so probably 20 mil away from the boom. So when you pull here, you have here the sail and the boom. So that will probably me, and this is probably Alex Cousin. We really recommend adjustable outhaul. On the racing sail, the downhaul, you will pretty much not touch. Once you feel like this is your best setting on the downhaul, never touch it. Light wind, strong wind, overpowered, whatever, just leave it. But with the adjustable outhaul, you can trim your sail. For light wind, you release a little bit until the sail is almost touching the boom. You have more power and you feel like really overpowered. Just pull the outhaul system and the sail will be flatter, and you gain on control, bigger range of use on the upper wind limit. With the clew eyelets, we have 3 options: lower clew, both of them, and the upper clew. If you prefer, you can just loop it once. I actually loop it twice. I feel a bit more safe. For the double clew, I first loop the lower one and then loop the top one like that, so that the back end of the boom is in the middle between the clews. The difference between those 3 positions is with the lower position, the leech is twisting off more, as you can see, which makes the whole sail softer. With the upper clew, the sail feels stiffer, has more power. So when you push in here, you can see there's not so much reflex at the back. So you have more power for planing, pumping after the jibe, also to pinch a bit more upwind. The middle position is just half-half. It is a bit softer, not as much as the lower one, but you still feel it, and yeah, just for medium chop. About Battens and tension. Why do we need battens? Of course, imagine you would have this sail without battens. It's just like all this monofin material. It would be like a plastic bag just flopping around. So with the battens, of course, we bring in stability, stiffness, and we can tension them a bit more, a bit less, as you wish. We have the top 3 battens without cambers, and the bottom 4 battens, they have cambers. So the top battens, if you don't tension them too much, you get more power in the top. For the camber battens, of course, if you tension them less, you will have a bit a flatter sail. If you tension more, the sail in the front gets deeper. If you want to have the sail even deeper than that, you can also add some spacer between the sail and the cambers, so to push the camber more into the depth. What I also do after rigging, so after you pull the downhaul, the outhaul, I quickly go up to the top. There is a pin into the mast, and I quickly hold it and just give it a bit of wiggle, so the sail always has the perfect rotation. With the normal webbing going over the top, it is more fixed and locked in, so it won't move. So with the top cap, we have the 2 plastics which can actually rotate.
Remember that every great session starts here with rigging the sail. The balance, the power, the control, it all depends on those first minutes you spend setting up your gear. So take the time to do it right. Find the right downhaul and outhaul, and your gear will work for you, not against you.